Retro Ghetto.
Hi everybody, welcome to this week's vlog, and we are kicking it off with a bang. I am on my way to the NEC Toy Fair, my favourite fair in the country, and I've got a little bit of insider information that there's going to be a seller there selling lots of box Super Nintendo games. So as you can imagine, I'm excited about that. Let's go. Okay, so we've made it and it looks nice and quiet, which is a good sign. The thing about the NEC is it costs more money than most of these events. Obviously the venue will be very expensive, but it's £15 early entry. But for me personally, when it's £10 after 10, you might as well get here early, especially if you're going to do some filming. But you know, if you want to grab the good things and the bargains, then it's definitely always a good idea to come early. So for me, it's worth paying the extra £5 just to miss that massive queue that will inevitably be here come 10 o'clock. But yeah, I'm excited. I love this fair. You just never know what you're going to find, right? It's one of them things. Anything could be here. So it's that kind of like unknown, right? So yeah, let's go see what we can get. Okay, so I'm inside and yeah, looks like it's rammed full. I've already seen some amazing stuff. I've only been here about half a minute, so let's go do some hunting, shall we? Yeah, I'm in SNES heaven. I'm going to be leaving with at least a couple of these. There's more here. So it's got that many SNES games. It's actually sitting behind the store. Yeah. And the Kit Kat. I mean, what more can you ask for? Super Nintendo games and Kit Kats, right? I'm at the right place.
I'm Mr. Dan Plastic from Toy Division, and you are watching Retro Ghetto vlogs.
Oh, we got the good stuff here.
You're selling a great.
These are gone to a guy already.
You're selling a graded scratch.
Yeah.
Big money.
Yeah. Those two are medium money.
These are big.
That's big money.
How much are we talking?
That's around 1,500.
1,500.
And this one
This
is
big one.
the biggest money.
How much are we talking?
Now, 7.5 grand.
7.5 grand.
Yeah, ish.
Okay, a new car, basically.
Yeah. Deposit on a flat.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing.
I'll give you 10 for the back. We're not finished yet.
So that is a vinyl Cape Jawa.
That's mint.
That's a lovely minty vinyl Cape Jawa.
How much?
No playware. No playware. About 2.5 grand.
2.5 G's, look at that.
No playware on it.
As you can see, it's been wrapped in a
Yeah.
bit of kitchen roll.
Box protectors. Right, so I've done one lap and I've barely looked at anything. I've spent all my time gassing and talking to fellow tubers and other people. So yeah, it's always a nice social event here, but I need to knuckle down and start looking at the stores now. Start buying some stuff, right? I'm only just seeing this. I've never seen so many retro video games at a toy fair in my life. Wow, that Mega Drive collection. I bought a couple of nice Mega Drive games I've been wanting for quite some time, so yeah, I couldn't have expected to find this many high-level retro video games at a toy fair, so really happy. Obviously I'll show you guys everything once we get back to the 3.0, but a great fair, great fair.
Myself, Theo Kane, just hanging out with Retro Ghetto at the NEC. Loving your videos, man, and yeah, keep supporting, keep doing what you're doing. I'm looking forward to the next one, the next vlog, and all the stuff coming from your channel.
Well, that was very unexpected, but a great surprise. I've never seen that many, not just video games, but retro games. There's a lot of people that really took retro video games, good stuff, expensive stuff. Normally you just find the odd bits that someone's probably had from their own collection. Casual game players that have taken like 360 games, PS3 games, alongside their toys, which they've gone primarily to sell. But this time there was a lot more people that clearly put thought into higher end retro stuff. A couple of people told me that started bringing games because they watch my videos or because I've asked them to when I've met them previously, and yeah, it's great to see. It's almost like the merging of the two slowly. The video games are encroaching into the toy world, so I bought some amazing stuff. I spent more than I expected to. Let's get back to the 3.0 and take a look.
Okay, as you can see, we are back in the 3.0 from what was a fantastic turnout at the NEC Toy Fair. Probably a few less sellers than usual. It was a little bit sparse in terms of stores as you went further up, but to be honest, it just made it a little bit more spacious, because previously it has been quite tight, and the busiest one's probably Christmas, and sometimes it can be sort of very claustrophobic at times when the general entry crowd come in. But yeah, it was perfect for me. I've never seen so many retro video games at one of these events before. A couple of people did say to me that they blamed me for that. I'm not going to take sole responsibility, right? I'm not going to say I'm the reason. But yeah, for me personally, it was great to see, because I wasn't expecting stores to have dedicated areas or designated tables for retro video games. So I filled my boots, or filled my bag, should I say. But yeah, great morning. I spoke to so many people who watch the channel. Spoke to so many fellow tubers that I enjoy watching. All the Toy Division guys, great to see them. I had a good chat with Theo from Slamhouse TV. We kicked it for a while, and we spoke about all things YouTube and all that good stuff. So yeah, really fun day. Did a lot of socialising and a lot of buy-in, so you can't really ask for too much more. I got loads of games, retro games. I bought something weird and wonderful, which if you guys know me, you'll know that's my jam, right? So let's get straight into it. I've got my games set up in the chronological order, so I'm just going to sort of talk you through the way in which my day and ultimately my purchases unfolded. So I had got wind that there was a seller that was taking over 60 box Super Nintendo games. I had messaged him prior, and we kind of arranged a deal for at least one of those games, even though I kind of knew I'd probably end up buying more. And that game was Equinox. So Equinox was developed by Software Creations in 1993, and it plays like an action-adventure puzzle game. Unbeknownst to myself, it's actually a sequel to the 1990 NES game Solstice. I've actually had this one on my radar for a while now. I've seen this on quite a few Super Nintendo SNES Hidden Gems videos, right? Similar to the one that I put out myself recently. And I love the art style of this game. It's very much like in an isometric view. I think it's one of them games that can take a little bit of getting used to in terms of the view. I think some of the levels with the platforming elements, like the jumping, can be a little bit difficult. But yeah, one that I've heard good things about, and it's been on my radar to pick up for some time. This game is £35 at CEX, and for the most part, he had all these games listed at CEX price, but he did me this for £30, and we kind of agreed that I'd pick this one up, I'd go and have a look round, and I knew I was going to be back at this store. And as with most of the games on Holy Grail Toys store, they're in fantastic condition. This was part of his collection. You can very much tell he was a collector by the condition of this cardboard. And they all came with Super Nintendo box protectors, which is always a bonus for me. There was a little bit of sun fading on this side and this side, only slightly. The rest of it's in very nice condition. And as I say, if you look at the tabs, that's usually a good tell that the game's going to be in very good condition. And yeah, again, another good sign. Very good condition manual. So yeah, to pick up a game that I've been after for quite some time for £30 was a great start to my day, and I will be back before I leave the venue at Holy Grail Toys store. Okay, so from there I wandered up a bit and I bumped into a seller that often has quite a lot of video game related items. I think he's often sort of purging his own collection. I think like a lot of collectors, he's got kind of running out of room, and every time he does one of these stores, he allows himself to sell a few more things, which he usually ends up regretting, right? Which is the life of a collector, seller's remorse. And something really caught my eye. You guys know me, I love the weird and the wonderful. Not only do I like weird and wonderful, I love early Nintendo promo items. I love collecting Mario, like early Mario. You can just see one there, which was actually like a bubble bath, I believe. I love that kind of funky looking, very early 90s Mario. And when I saw this, I knew I had to have it. And this is a Super Mario World promo puzzle can. So this is from 1993. So not only is it Mario, it's Super Nintendo Mario. So this was for the Super Mario World release. I need to build this puzzle, right, before I put it on display. And it's stressing me out. I was trying to do it on the way home from the NEC Toy Fair. And yeah, I'm not very good at it. I might have to figure out the best way to do this, because I'm not going to be able to display this until it's as it should be displayed, right? But fantastic piece. He had £30 on this, and I guess it's one of them items that you can pretty much label the terms of price however you want, because there's no real market for it in terms of there's none available. I can't find another one of these in the UK. I can't even find any history of there being one in the UK. There was one once listed in Poland, and the only one sold on eBay was sold in America for almost $100. This was listed for £30 and I ended up getting this for £15. So I think I've got a bargain. Obviously at the time when I was buying it, I didn't have a clue what the value was. I just knew that I didn't want to be paying 30. I was happy with sort of £10–15. That's where I kind of valued this in my own personal value, just to have something on the shelf. And the way in which I got this was that we agreed for £20 with this and a game. So I picked up just a random GameCube game that I didn't already own. I picked up Catwoman. I'm not expecting it to be Game of the Year or anything like that, but for a £5 and to sort of, you know, make it a deal, it's just one that'll go on the GameCube shelf. But I think I've probably found a real gem here, a very rare piece, and yeah, one that I'm looking forward to. I'm lying. I'm not looking forward to building it. I'm looking forward to displaying it once I've done the puzzle. But yeah, it's already stressing me out. If I had hair, I'd have lost some on the way home. But yeah, very, very happy to have found this. Okay, so from there, I'm sort of walking around a bit more, and then at the edge of the hall, I'd missed it on the first way round, right? It's like when you go to the supermarkets as a child with your mum, and you know, you're trying to find her, but you miss her when she's at the end of an aisle. Well, I missed this store the first time around, but then I came around again and I was like, double taking. This guy had Mega Drive games for days. You guys have seen the footage. Now this has all come from this find, which is apparently the find of a lifetime. I know that various people have been talking about this and have been fortunate enough to get into what was a lockup for an old video game and vinyl record store in Wolverhampton, I believe. And from what I hear, there's tens if not hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of stuff in this lockup. Well, this guy was lucky enough to be able to get into this lockup, and he had absolutely loads of games, some sealed, every varying condition, but the majority of what he'd bought with him was Mega Drive games, and I knew there'd be something in there for me. So I was sort of flicking through, and eventually I found a couple of games that I was thankfully able to negotiate with him on. He's a tough negotiator. Shout out to Unit 3 Collectible Toys. I believe he's got a physical store, so I'll put the information in the description below. Yeah, 3 Worcester Street, Wolverhampton. Shout out to him, he did me a great deal on these. I'm going to give you the price at the end because it was like a bundle deal. But the first one that I picked up is, of all the games here today, one that I've been very active in trying to buy myself. It's one that goes up in price, it's gone up in price quite a lot recently, and that is Rocket Knight Adventures. So as I said, I've been actively on the hunt for this one since I bought Sparkster for the Super Nintendo. This is like the original Sparkster. It's a 1993 Konami platformer, and you play as an opossum knight, and you have to try and stop an evil empire with planet-destroying abilities. Now, the key thing to look at here is that there is clear damage to this. He said to me that apparently there was like eye-watering amounts of stuff in this lockup that had to be destroyed because there was some water damage that had got into this lockup. But on this one, you can see there's a bit of damage on the bottom here. I'll switch the case out, but everything else is fine. The spine's fine, the back's fine, and it's complete and in good condition. The manual's in really nice condition. It doesn't even look like it's been touched, and the cartridge. And as I say, I'll tell you about the pricing in a minute as to why I picked this one up, because he also had a very nice condition copy of this. But yeah, more about that in a minute. And then the second game I bought was just like the first one, a game that you must have in your Mega Drive collection, right? If you consider yourself to be a Mega Drive collector, these are kind of like must-owns that are just like glaring omissions from my personal Mega Drive collection, and that is Alien Storm. This game is officially described as a beat-em-up shooter. Originally a 1990 arcade game, this was ported to the Mega Drive a year later. And as I say, just two must-own games really. This one's in very nice condition. And again, complete. And again, the manual looks like it's barely been touched. Now, the chap was saying to me that a lot of stuff in that lockup he reckons had never been touched. A lot of this stuff was brand new, and it just never seen the shop floor. But yeah, what a find those guys have had with some of the stuff I've heard that's come out of this lockup is genuinely mind-blowing, and there's some real heavy hitters there on the day on the store. But yeah, so the price that I paid for these two games, and this is why I was happy to take the one with the damage, was £40. Now, Rocket Knight Adventures alone sells at CX for £40. This is a game that's been increasing in value. So for me to effectively get Alien Storm for free was a fantastic deal, and one that I couldn't pass up. All I'm going to do is wipe this one down, put it in a better case, and because the back's fine and the manual and everything's in great condition, I'm well happy with that. I mean, as I say, it would have cost me more than that to get this one posted from CEX with no guarantee of a manual, let alone one in good condition. And I'm far from a mint collector, so I'm delighted to add two must-owns to my Mega Drive collection for 40 quid. So at this point, I'm pretty much done, right? I'm heading out the venue. I've spent most of my money, and then I just saw a load of games on the floor of a store, so I destroyed this old man back and knees by bending down and digging through them, and I did find a game that I needed for my collection, and that was Midway Arcade Treasures. The reason that I wanted this one is because I already owned Midway Arcade Treasures 2 and Midway Arcade Treasures 3, so obviously I wanted to complete the trilogy, and this one's probably the best of the bunch. There's some real good games on here. Spy Hunter, Defender, Defender 2, Gauntlet, Joust, Paperboy, Super Sprint, Clax, all sorts, loads of games on here. I'm not going to go through them all, but this was just £2.50, which is actually £1 cheaper than the CX price, so yeah, just nice to complete the trilogy of Midway Arcade Treasures on the PlayStation 2. So now I'm definitely leaving. All I'm doing is a quick last lap to say goodbye to everyone that I've been speaking to, including Holy Grail Toys' booth. I should have known I'd end up picking another game up, right? And this was one of the games that he had that I didn't own personally, and that is Kid Clown in Crazy Chase. Very much a filler title, if there is still such a thing on Super Nintendo. This has become a £20 game. He actually had this originally listed at 30, but he came down to 20 for me because I told him that it was currently going for 20 at CEX. This is developed by Kemco, and it's actually a later release, 1995 release platformer. You play as Kid Clown, and you're tasked with rescuing Princess Honey from the villain Black Jack. What sets this one apart from most of platformers of this era is the camera angle. It's set in like an isometric camera angle, so yeah, it's something a little bit different for a very oversaturated genre in the mid to early 90s. But yeah, again, the reason I pulled the trigger on this one is the condition. Very much in collector condition, this one. Really nice. So for £20, you know, the time to buy is when you're there, right? I didn't have any designs on buying this, but you know me, if it's a Super Nintendo game that I don't already own, I'm going to be involved, and especially if the price is good and the condition is as good as this, then yeah, you can't really go too far wrong. So shout out to Holy Grail Toys for hooking me up on both of those games. And yeah, as always, an amazing day at the NEC. Regardless of what I come back with, I always have a good day because there's always so many people that I enjoy seeing and speaking with. Especially Ben. I want to give a shout out to Ben, famed for Bugsy's Toy Box and Toy Division. I was chatting to him for a bit, and he said to me, look, pick something out for Little Man. And Little Man is very happy that he's received his Sergeant Slaughter. So massive shout out to Ben for that. Very kind of you, sir. You are a gentleman. But yeah, an amazing day, as I say. Always enjoy chatting with everybody. But I just never expected to come home with this many retro video games. Normally, it's just kind of the odd PlayStation 3 and 360 game that people kind of just grab. It feels like at the last minute to sell alongside their toys just to get rid of stuff, right? Whereas it felt like there was a lot more dedicated space there today to video games and retro video games. And For me personally, it's great to see because it's not been like that historically. I used to be like one of the only people there hunting for retro video games, so kind of feels like the two worlds are merging a little bit more so than they used to, which, hey, for me that's a good thing, right? So yeah, all in all, amazing day, amazing pickups, couldn't be happier, except for Arsenal dropping points, but we're not going to talk about that.
Retro Ghetto.
Good morning on what is an absolutely beautiful day. And I've actually got a free day in the diary. This is normally where I'd go game hunting, but given I did so much hunting at the toy fair and I've spent a lot of money, I've spent all my CX vouchers, I've got a big order on the way which will probably be next week's vlog now, and some other stuff we're about to unbox, so I don't think I'm going to have a day off from game hunting, but I've got loads of jobs to do. Let me just spin the camera around. So I've managed to get the bench built that I picked up at the back end of last week's vlog. Really happy with how the gym's slowly coming together now. There's still a lot of like clean-up work needed out here and still need quite a bit of equipment, but I'm happy with how it's progressing. Got both of these really cheap on Facebook Marketplace. As I say, now's the time to buy because as the weather starts getting better and better, gym equipment prices are going to start going through the roof. So yeah, I've been out here this morning. I'm really happy with that. And then the room is a tip for various reasons. I'm going to talk you through everything I've been doing over the last day or so. So all the stuff that's out is just stuff that needs putting away. Let me shut the door so the light doesn't kill my shot. So yeah, these are all games that need putting away. You know, every couple of weeks or so we integrate all the new additions onto the shelves. So this is all just new stuff that needs doing. And you know you've had a great few weeks, right, when you've got this much 16-bit goodness. So these are all the new Mega Drive games. This I'm going to clean up today, see what I can do with that. These were the games that got boxed up from last week. And these are the games, still haven't moved luck from the back end of last week's vlog that we cleaned up. These are now obviously dry, it's been about a week. So we're going to get box protectors put on these, get these put away or put onto the SNES or whatever's relevant. And here he is, the game in question. I had a dedicated video to this. I've got quite a few things to say about this and that video. So we're going to get into that a bit later on as I try and clean up this box. This is my only real charity shop find of the week. I've not been doing too much hunting this week, been really busy. I found this in the back room of a charity shop for £1.50. I believe there's £9 trading on this. There's loads in here, like booklets and postcards and all kinds of good stuff. But I think this trades in for £9. But I'm actually going to watch this before I trade it in. It's been a few years since I've watched Battle Royale. So yeah, decent little find that one was. The only reason I'm not keeping it is because if I keep one DVD, I'll end up with 1,000 of them. That's just how my sort of collector brain works. So I never keep DVDs or Blu-rays for the most part. I tend to watch them and then move them on. And right, okay, so the rest of the mess. This is that record player I picked up at the back end of last week. I've been cleaning the Retro Ghetto 2.5. That's what I've been busy doing lately. Before the missus makes me sleep on the sofa. It's been taking me that long to clear out that room, right? I think she thought once I built this room, that room would be clear. Well, what is it, 6 months later? It's still full. But anyway, I found this soundbar that I used to use. And it was so easy for me to test this record player. I just literally plugged the soundbar straight into here. And this works brilliantly. Really happy with it. So we've got to clean that up. That's a job for today. It's absolutely filthy, this is. Look, it's covered in all kinds of grime and disgustingness. So that needs a real deep clean. So hopefully we'll get to that today. And this down here this is a joke. So obviously you guys know I bought the white PS3 as part of my white consoles that I'm going for. And have you ever tried to swap data from one PS3 to another? My God, they don't make it easy. I don't know what Sony are doing, but you literally have to get an Ethernet cable. You have to have both systems hooked up, preferably both to a television, because you kind of have to accept something on one and then go to the other screen. It's a very, very long and convoluted process to swap data from one PlayStation 3 to another. It's not simply a case of just logging into your PSN account. So I've still not even finished that. So hopefully that's something I'm going to get to today as well. I was trying to find a working Ethernet cable because I didn't want to unplug all my Ethernet cable and stuff to use on this, because then I'm not ready to take this off the wall again just yet. I've only just got the Kallax unit put back in place. So that's another job that we've got to do today. Yeah, loads going on. I've also got a couple of boxes that I need to open. One kind of CEX lottery, so we'll get to that as well. But I think I'm going to start by getting these protected and put away. Okay, so that's all of the games protected and ready to go away. These two I think are going to make the SNES wall. Obviously Sky Blazer is, but Mario is missing. I'm trying to do all of the Mario games, so obviously I want all of them on the wall, so that'll be getting incorporated. But here's one of the things I wanted to do. Let me just quickly whack these on. I'm just going to put them on in any order very quickly, just so I can test them out. Okay, so when you watch my videos, I think you can see up until the end of Soccer Kid, right? And it annoys me that there's this blank space. So one of my immediate goals, and again, you always use these little things to inspire you with your collecting. One of my immediate goals for Super Nintendo is to get enough goals to fill that gap, right? So that when you watch my videos, my Mainline Wednesday videos, there won't be that annoying gap sitting there to my left-hand side. But as I say, it's just one of them little things you use to inspire you. I'm really happy with where my Super Nintendo collection's going. Since I put my SNES wall here and I'm constantly looking at all the artwork, it really has given me that real love and motivation, I suppose, to get back into getting as many Super Nintendo games as I can. And I've actually got a couple on the way, one of which is a very heavy hitter, so that'll probably be on next week's vlog. Right, so now that's that done, we'll be arranging the Super Nintendo wall and putting these two on a bit later on. But what I'm going to do firstly is try and clean up Rocket Knight Adventures. Right, okay, so as I say, we're going to look into fixing up this Rocket Knight, or at least cleaning it, seeing what we can do with it. As I say, I only ended up paying £20, and as I've already said, the manual and the car, like mint, right? It doesn't look like it's ever been touched, so I'm really happy with the price, but now it's just about getting the most out of it that we can. Shout out to Kit, by the way, much appreciated for breakfast. And yeah, second cup of tea. I'm going to slowly take this sleeve cover out now, because it looks to me like there's been a bit of water damage. As I say, this came from that lockup, and I won't be surprised if this looks like maybe the remnants of mould or something. I mean, the box itself might be thrown away. I'll replace this with a different box, but this is quite a very delicate, thin piece of paper at this point that has got a little bit of water damage, so I'm going to be very careful what I do with this. But as long as I can get off these sort of like the dirt, the mould, whatever you want to call it, I'll be happy with that. And then as I say, I'll probably bin this and replace it with a different box. Okay, so I've cleaned up Rocket Knight with mixed success. Like I said, there was a little bit of mould and dirt and all that kind of stuff, which I managed to get all that residue off. A lot of this, like the white writing, was covered in, you know, dirt and mould and whatnot, and that's all much better than it was. However, I did make a mistake. If we look up here, there's like a line up here that was like mould, so I really wanted to get it off. I got a little bit too eager, and it slightly damaged the upper. Normally I wouldn't have gone as hard. When I say hard, look, I barely touched it. Obviously this is a very brittle piece of paper now. But I really wanted to get it off with it being what was mould. I did get a lot of it off, but in process I got a little bit overzealous and a little bit of it just came away with it. Ultimately I'm not too fussed, simply because I mean it's clearly already damaged, and for 20 quid I think I got an absolute bargain either way. But yeah, it's always more annoying when you do it yourself. But again, he had a nice mint copy of this for 60 quid, and the way I collect, I don't value that bit of damage there at £40 on a game I paid £20 for. To me personally, yeah, that's just the way I collect. I'm delighted to have this. And shout out to Winter Olympics for being the donor box. So as soon as this is fully dried, we're going to be getting that in this box, and that'll be Rocket Knight Adventures done. And then probably going to clean up the record player. We've got a box to open still, and I need to watch a lot of YouTube tutorials on the best thing I can do to fix this up, and I want to talk about this a little bit more as well. But before all of that, let's get these Mega Drive games put away. I don't want to be putting away everything in one go. Let's incorporate some more 16-bit goodness, shall we? And I've run out of space, so it's a bit of a problem. Mega Drive shelving's at full capacity. Got 3 blue spines sitting here, and I'm far from done with my Mega Drive collecting. So We have to figure something out. Theme park is actually an electronic arts yellow spine, so all I did was just push Carmen San Diego out the picture, but it just leaves us with 2 more. So I'm cleaning up the record player and look in here. Ugh. The downside of charity shop hunting, guys. You have to be prepared to clean up what you buy. Good as new. Okay, so I've got the record player added to the stack and it works great. However, you know what it's like, guys, one job leads to about 7 more. This speaker doesn't seem to be working. This one's like putting out much more emphasis, you know, it's got more bass line coming out. This one doesn't seem to be doing much at all. So it's going to turn into a troubleshoot exercise to figure out what's wrong with that. And then obviously all the wires are behind my newly affixed shelves, and welcome to the first world problems that are maintaining a games room.
What you know about retro ghetto, collecting and playing retro, Street Fighter on the Nintendo, I'm a veteran at this, not a pro, lock into the retro ghetto, come and have a look around in the ghetto, we got Sonic and Staples Setto, lock into the retro ghetto. I don't play games with my son PlayStation, man, I old school like an Atari game.
Okay, so I'm really happy with how this has all come together. Needed a record player, was something that I knew I had to have as soon as I moved into this room and I got rid of the old one. To find that for £15, it couldn't fit any better. Aesthetically, I think it's fantastic. Sony is one of a few manufacturers whose things I allow into this room. Really happy with it. The sound is amazing. What I did was integrate this central speaker, which should never have been over there anyway. It was always a temporary thing. You want that in the middle, obviously. So that's now sitting in front of the router, and it still kind of fits the colour scheme, so that's all good. As I say, I wish I could project how good this sounds to you guys, and for me this is just an amazing view now when you walk into this room. This whole area with this sort of retro tech mixed in with the sort of more modern PS5, and yeah, it's all about chasing perfection, but you rarely find it. But I think in this little corner of my games room, it's as close to perfection as you'll get with the table. Obviously when this is all clean, I just love this view. I think it's the best visual representation in my room of my love for this kind of era of tech, you know, that 90s, early 2000s, the stuff I coveted as a kid. And I'm really happy with how this has all come together, all for what was a £15 charity shop find. So yeah, really happy with that. Just wish you could hear it. Okay, so it's time to turn my attention to this one here. If you saw Wednesday's video, you will know the rather long and convoluted story with this one. Video in many ways was not the video I intended to make. My plan, as I said at the back end of last week's vlog, was to open this as a CX lottery, and then I was going to sort of talk about how my SNES collection is growing this year since I've put the display on the wall, all the amazing new additions that we've had, and how it's really invigorated me now. I can see the artwork, and I was going to talk about other art types that I own and that I'm equally terrible at. I played this the other day. I'm so bad at this game, it's unbelievable, but I just wanted it so much for the collection. But obviously the video didn't pan out that way anyway, and then it's a strange one because CX offered the best resolution. So yeah, I told the story the way it happened. It's just not what my original intention for the video was. And as a result, I've got like mixed emotions with this now, and I'm going to try and fix it up the best way possible. You can iron these. Obviously there's some safety parameters you put down, and then you can iron the cardboard flat. It's something I've seen on YouTube for many years, but I've never attempted it myself, and I think now might be the time. So I'm going to reacquaint myself. I'm going to watch a couple of YouTube tutorials now. I'll probably find a bit of a tester game before I jump straight into R-Type 3, regardless of its condition. But yeah, next time you see me, I might have the iron out. Also, I'm just noticing that. What on earth? No. I got distracted by this, and does anybody know if there's like a quick, easy rule to doing these? It's the fact you've only got one space. It just fills me with dread. having to think how much I'm going to have to move this, or how much trial and error it will take to get this right. So there's got to be some sort of mathematical formula, I would have thought. Someone make it easy for me, please. Took a break, thought I'd cut the grass on what is a beautiful day. Seeing as little man's home from school, this is going to be our Wembley. Guard. Go. Back to your guard every time. That's what your feet are. Guard. Go. Okay, so now me and little man have finished balling and training, and it's time. So I've bought in the travel ironing board. The missus has just informed me that she's getting a new iron. Brilliant. Glad I bought it up. Because this one's steam function isn't working. So what I figured I'd do is I'd just flick water. That's my ghetto way of getting around it. So I'm going to put the game underneath a pillowcase. I'm going to flick it with sufficient amount of water. And then I'm going to have the iron set to mid-heat. And we're going to try and iron and see if it makes a difference. Never done this before. I'm not quite doing it how I was told. What will be will be. Okay, so it's laid down, pressed as flat as it can be. Then I'm going to cover it. We're going to flick some water on and we're going to iron away. Okay, that's that side done. Feels a little bit more rigid. Hasn't been any issues, so let's go again. Okay, so that's as much as I feel comfortable doing. It definitely almost feels a little bit more rigid in hand. So what I'm going to do is build this box back up and we'll see what we're working with. Okay, so I've flattened down the inner tray. I'm currently cleaning all the rubbish off it. If I can't get this to be sufficiently rigid, what I'll do is I'll just borrow one from a lesser game, one that's already got a good box so it doesn't need the rigidity of a perfect inlay, which R-Type 3 will benefit from. So I'm going to get that done now, and then we're going to clean it, because I haven't actually cleaned this properly yet. I'm going to do my old Mr. Sheen around it, and then that'll probably be about there. So yeah, I'm thinking actually also I might put a little bit of tape on the inside here, because this tab's very close to being ripped off. So I might just put like a little piece of electrical tape or something, just sort of on the inside there, on that flap, just to keep it working and to stop it from falling off down the line. But just before we put in an inner tray for that added rigidity, I think you can definitely see that it's got more of its box shape back after ironing it. Before, this was sat very squashed, especially in that corner, and also where this line is here was protruding a lot more. That's relatively straight again now. Before it was sort of concaved. So yeah, whilst I think you can definitely be more effective with this method, there's definitely ways to do it better than I did it. I was sort of limited by what I had available. I still think it's definitely helped, and it's given me that rigidity, which I don't always search for because I get that from the box protectors. But like I say, with this one, I just want to see just how well we can bring it back to life and round out this story, really. Okay, guys, so what I've done is I've put the tray and the game back in. I've sellotaped that corner because, like I said, I didn't want to lose that tab, and the way it's going, I'll forget about that in a year or two, come to play the game, and I'll end up ripping off the tab. But like I say, generally, a much more rigid structure now. I'm going to clean it, and then we're going to get it in a box protector. Okay, so it's had its clean now, particularly where the ink is black. You can see how it's much cleaner. I only gave it a very quick going over. But yeah, I think if we can compare this to where it was before, I think we're in a better place, right? So now let's get the box protector on. Now, I know it might sound like stating the obvious, but when you do come to put cardboard of this condition into one of these protectors, the most important thing is to make sure that these flaps are down. So these sort of like dog-eared corners, the last thing you want to do is put this in the box protector with that back on itself, because then you'll never get it back down. So it can take a little bit of fiddling around to make sure that these are sitting as they should be once you put them in, but it'll just help it keep its shape forevermore, really, if that's how you can get it put into the box. And yeah, I'm quite pleased with how we're looking. So there we are. Look, you can see on the bottom, those flaps are sitting as they should. Get that corner the same.
And there we go. And there we are. So far from perfect, but as I always say, I'm not a mint collector. I think it's definitely SNES wall worthy at this point. These box protectors do so much good stuff. I mean, if you look where that damage was now, I mean, you can't see it from the front at all. And not only that, it will help to keep it in place as well. So yeah, all in all, very happy. I actually might have been able to track down a poster as well, so we might have a poster for this very soon, because it's supposed to be a poster and a manual. I don't know how realistic a manual is, but we can live and hope. But as I said on the video, I would have been delighted to have bought this for 50 quid ultimately. The cartridge sells for more than that on eBay, so obviously from that point of view, I'm happy with how it's worked out. Yeah, let's get it added to the wall. What a beautiful evening to draw the curtains and play some games.
Retro Ghetto.
Okay, so it's now actually the next day. I ended up having a very late night in here last night. I was playing a lot of retro actually. Primarily I was playing Skyblazer. I'm almost through with this one now. I'm pretty sure I'm almost completed it. I've been stuck on 7 games completed for the year for far too long. I blame Metroid Prime mostly for that, but also myself. I've been doing a lot of rearranging, and as you guys know, with the unit and the wires and a lot of other various projects which have taken up my time away from gaming. So hopefully once this game room's cleaned up now, I'll be able to just put some time into playing these games I've been adding to my collection. And hopefully I'll be getting a bit of game time in tonight as well. I also managed finally to data transfer across from my 2 PlayStation 3 consoles. What a ridiculous process that was. It took a long time to finally get that done, but it's done, so I can now move on to these parcels that I've got sat here that I never got around to opening yesterday. So it's kind of a CEX lottery of sorts. This is a game that a friend of mine who I speak about on this channel quite often, my Polish pal, he knows I was after. One came up in his local CEX, so he bought it for me. I think he sent me photos, it was a few weeks ago now. And then he's basically sent it out to me in the post. So not really a CX lottery, like I'm pretty sure this is in good condition. But one that I'm very happy to finally be adding to my collection. So let's get into this. I mean, I need a protein shake after that. Okay. Very well packaged, as I would expect. Thank you very much, my friend.
Just got to interject, guys, because also my Polish pal had put in this box and I completely missed it. Yes. He knows me well. I can beat the odds. I can go the distance.
Very well packaged. Take note, CEX. Okay, so it is the Sikio Shooting Stars Alpha Collection. Now, if you've been watching these vlogs, you will know that I went to Nottingham recently to purchase this, and it was sadly just the box of the game, really, when it should come as a big box like this. So I've been sort of waiting and hoping to find the big box version at CEX. As I say, the price on these seems to be going northwards constantly. It's one of them where it was quite readily available at one point, and it seems to be less and less being seen on eBay, and the prices are slowly going up as well. So yeah, let's see what we actually get additional with this. Okay, so obviously we have got the game itself, and on this one, the Strikers 1945, Strikers 1945 2, Strikers 1945 3, Dragon Blaze, which I think is quite an interesting looking game, Soul Divide, and Zero Gunner 2. It also comes with an art schematics book. Let's see what other extras we get. So that's nice. So we've got some like art cards here. And we've got a double CD, or a triple CD, should I say. So this is sort of the soundtrack and the music to a lot of these games. So yeah, really nice touches, like nice additions. It's a really nice set for shmup fans like myself. So yeah, really happy to add this. As soon as I saw it on various people's videos across YouTube, I knew it was something I wanted for myself. Yeah, £52. Hopefully I'll be able to get these stickers off without any drama, with it being a cardboard sleeve. But yeah, just a game that I've been hunting for some time, and it's nice to now finally have it. And that takes us on to this next box right here. So this is, there's a story behind this one. It's not for what we think. Okay, so it's the Sikio Shooting Stars Bravo version. So this is the other one. This one contains Gunbird, Gunbird 2, Gunbarrick, 10-guy, Samurai Aces, and something written in Japanese which I cannot pronunciate. But there we go. I think that's everything that's on the back, if anyone's interested. And yeah, so it's just the same again, but the Bravo version. So it came in Alpha and Bravo. Shout out to the viewer of this channel, you know who you are, who messaged me on Instagram and said that this was available on Vinted, the app where you can purchase things, and it was literally just this, so there's no game included. I think he had it up for £15 and I managed to get him down to 10, so I paid £10 for this. And I kind of bought it with an eye for a future CEX lottery, so I can now go ahead and buy the Shooting Stars Bravo basic version through CEX, and regardless of whether it comes with a big box or not, I can't really lose, right, because I've already got it. So theoretically, I've got both the boxes now. I've got one complete and one which needs the game. But yeah, I really have been very excited to get my hands on these. And it's just something that I wanted them both for my Switch collection as soon as I saw them. I don't really buy bigger box and collector's editions these days. As much as I love them, I don't have the real estate available on the shelf to keep buying them. I'll quickly run out of room if I do that, but these were just two that I really knew that I had to have for the collection. So yeah, what a great way to sort of round the week out by adding these fantastic pieces to my collection, and hopefully I'll get some time to play these. I'll probably start playing these once I finish Skyblazer, because that's very much my sort of gaming goal right now, is to get that game finished. And yeah, rounds off what's been another fantastic week. We kicked it off in the best way possible at the NEC Toy Fair with more retro video games than I think I've ever seen at any toy fair. We had some nice additions. I've been somewhat productive. We've got quite a lot of stuff done. I'm delighted with how that record player's turned out. Yeah, every time I walk in the room and I see that, I just think, I don't know, it just makes things extra special for me. If you can find it in a bargain in a charity shop and to pay less than what you envisage you would end up having to pay to put a record player there, that's just the way that I love to collect. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. And yeah, just a great week generally. I've also got a heavy hitting Super Nintendo game that's on the way. I actually hadn't noticed today that's been dispatched, so I'll be showing that on next week's vlog. All that's left for me to say is, as always, I give a massive thank you to everybody, not only for watching, but for watching this long into the video. It's much appreciated. Let me know via the like button if you're enjoying these vlogs, and if you are enjoying these and you are watching and for some reason you're not already subscribed, please do so. It helps me keep making content, and hopefully we can keep putting these vlogs out. And yeah, I'm loving it, guys. So I just want to give everyone a massive thank you for your support. I'll see you all next week. Play your games, keep it retro, in a bit.
Retro Ghetto.